We kick off with Solid Minerals Development Minister, that's Dr. Dele Alake, at the weekend, presented the latest gold bar sourced from artisanal and small gold miners to President Bola Tinubu, stressing that the transaction boosted Nigeria's foreign reserves by over $5 million. The minister commended President Bola Tinubu for supporting reforms in the solid mineral sector, assuring that the National Gold Purchase Program will increase the country's reserve and boost the Naira's value. Presenting the bars refined by an agency of the ministry, the Solid Minerals Development Fund, to meet the London Bullion Market Association Good Delivery Standard, Alake said the refined gold would be sold to the Central Bank of Nigeria to bolster foreign reserves. Explaining to the president the significance of the event, Alake said it marked the first commercial transaction under the National Gold Purchase Program, the centralized offtake scheme supported by a decentralized aggregation and production network of artisanal and small-scale miners and cooperatives. Well, big development in the mining sector. Rufai, how would you like to unpack this?
I mean, big development, good one. But it has to be said, we have to be cautiously optimistic, and I tell you why. A couple of years ago, President Buhari then set up something called PAGMI. That's the Presidential Initiative on Artisanal Mining. The question is, what has that initiative done at improving the numbers as regards artisanal mining? We know the advocacy for artisanal mining, and it spans across other resource-rich African countries. In Ghana, they have a problem with galamsey. Here, a lot of artisanal miners. But with artisanal miners, there are big ecosystems. I mean, you can talk about blood diamonds and the likes. You can also talk about the need for a Kimberley process, which I'm going to come back to. With the artisanal miners in Nigeria, there are big ecosystems that filter all this gold, that take all this gold away from Nigeria, and they go sell them abroad. If you go to Dubai, there's a dominance of Nigerian gold, but that money doesn't come to the books of Nigeria. That's why I say, yes, it's a welcome development. It's a symbolic gesture, just like it was done in President Buhari's time. I think it was even the governor of Zamfara State that brought the gold to President Buhari, then presented with a bar of gold. In fact, the CBN bought that bar of gold. But the question is not just about the presentation. It's about a holistic look at the ecosystem. What can we do? One, to be able to ensure that we get more revenue into our coffers through this. The first thing we could do is we need to create a proper solid mineral ecosystem, like a gold ecosystem here. It's not just about getting gold out of the ground, but how about refining big time? So we need to have a lot more gold refineries, boost up the industry of gold in this country. Even trading exchanges. The popular former UKIP leader was popularly known to be a trader in the metal exchange in the UK. So why can't we have those trading exchanges here? Because that's where the money is. Most of the money from diamond in Africa doesn't come out of Gaborone, but it comes from Antwerp, where you have the diamond cutting industry. So what can we do to be able to boost that ecosystem? What can we also do, in all fairness to Minister Alake once again? They've set up this brigade of these rangers that will look after our solid mineral. But has that helped to be able to fight the big cartels that come to land plains in the bushes and take our solid minerals away? So except we fight those people and we fight that ecosystem, it's not going to come to us. So this is just a worldly gesture, just like we had in 2018 thereabouts with, or 2020 with Matawale, then was it Matawale? Yeah, the governor of Zamfara. But how can we build a proper ecosystem? And like I was talking about Kimberley process, also we need to be able to tag Nigerian gold. It's sort of like a Kimberley process where any gold that comes out of Nigeria that is stolen can be identified all over the world.
Okay, I've seen a bar of gold before, and it's a story that I will tell. Not on television. I saw it, I held on to it. But why is gold important? Gold mining has been an issue in this country, in Nigeria, since 1913. We have rich gold deposits in parts of northern Nigeria that exists Zamfara upwards. We have rich gold deposits. We also have rich gold deposits in Osun State, what is called the Iperido Reef. But because of the obsession with oil, Nigeria has not been able to take advantage of gold as a major resource in this country. And partly that is what has been responsible for illegal mining, artisanal mining. When government is absent, government is focusing on oil and gas revenue, other players took over. And many of the people that took over, however, we call them artisanal, but many of them are not different from those who sponsor crude oil theft in the Niger Delta region. However, we have had ministers who have focused on this before. Artisanal mining, illegal mining, how do you bring artisanal miners into the mainstream and all of that. The earliest that I remember was Mrs. Obi Ezekwesili as minister in charge of steel and mines, preparing a blueprint, a framework for addressing the problem. The second time I heard about this as a major national issue was when Dr. Kayode Fayemi was Minister of Steel, former governor of Ekiti State. He too came up with a blueprint. And now we have Mr. Dele Alake as the Minister of Steel Development. And he is also again focusing on it. So he's not reinventing the ideas. Those ideas have been there. He may have added a little of his own to make sure that gold mining, becomes an opportunity to create gold reserve, to address foreign exchange problem. On paper, those ideas, I have no issues with them. Now, why is it that they are important? Today, in the world, many central banks keep their reserves, have reserves in terms of bullion gold that they keep. At the moment, 80% of reserves in terms of gold are held by Russia and China. But other countries also have reserves in gold. In fact, so much that the World Gold Council, there is a body called World Gold Council, was saying that they are having problems with gold exploration because many of the major familiar sites, they've been bought up. And China is the leading country buying up all of this. A kilo of gold today is over $74,000 a kilo of gold. An ounce of gold is about $2,388. So there is a lot of possibility there, as Mr. Dele Alake pointed out. So, but the problem with Nigeria, as we have seen in the case of Osun State. Now let me go back to Osun State. I once visited Osun State. And one of the achievements of Governor Oyetola, who is now Minister of the Blue Economy, was reactivating the gold mining program in Osun State. And they took us to a factory there, where for the first time, I saw the process of producing these gold bars. And, we were given the opportunity to hold finished products. So Governor Oyetola at that time had great dreams about continuing from where his predecessor stopped. And, I don't know what became of that. But the thing is that Osun State, the whole of that axis, they call it Ikpenido Reef, is rich in gold deposits. So we have enormous deposits of gold. The challenge, however, is to address that connection between illegal artisanal mining and sustainability. What Minister Alake has done will cause excitement. There are possibilities there. Now that the World Gold Council says that, look, the exploration has been almost exhausted in many parts, and China and Russia are buying up almost everything. There's an entry point for Nigeria there. Perhaps, maybe if Nigeria focuses on gold, mining and production, maybe the objectives, the promises made by Minister Alake will be achieved. But let us look at the example of Ghana. Ghana is used to be called Gold Coast, because they have gold in abundance and all that. But gold has also not helped them in Ghana. So are there lessons that we can learn from Ghana? Are there lessons that we can learn to make sure that this is not an episode presenting gold bars, a few gold bars to the president of Nigeria, but making it achieve the objectives stated by the current minister? Other ministers before him made the effort, but they could not sustain it. I think it's the section 44 of the Nigerian Mining Law of 1999 that vests the responsibility, the ownership and control of gold mining similar resources in the federal government of Nigeria. But there is a mining law, Section 44, which also is linked to the establishment in the 1980s of the Nigerian Mining Corporation, NMC. There is a body like that. Now, all these regulatory agencies have to function. The law also has to function. The complementarity between the federal government and the states will have to function, so that what Mr. Alake presented to us, to the president, does not become just an episode for photo opportunity, but something that can be sustained in line with established framework. He doesn't need to worry about framework. Ezekwesili before him, Fayemi before him already established very strong framework. It is to activate that framework.
All right. Now, very quickly, I just want to continue on the theme of sustainability. Mining is all about scale. Now, it's all great to celebrate, aggregated product from artisanal miners. But if we really want to see impact made on the economy, on the exchange rate, on the value of the naira, on the CBN reserves, we need better scale, a bigger scale than aggregating from artisanal miners. Mining is about the ability to bring in big companies that will be able to extract. So when we speak of artisanal mining, it's called mining from alluvial deposits. Those are the deposits that exist on the surface of the ground. The real deposits are under the ground. That's where you start making numbers. Why do I speak about this? He talked about having done $5 million worth of sale of gold. A single gold aggregator from artisanal mines in Zimbabwe sold $460 million worth of gold aggregated from artisanal miners in a single year. Now that's aggregation, without counting what is being done by Anglo Gold, by the large-scale mining, mechanized mining. So it's very important for us to look beyond a conversation where we want to aggregate from artisanal miners and almost promoting artisanal miners. I don't think that's the direction we should be going in. We should be going in the direction where we're investing in exploration. Do we know the value of the gold deposits under the ground? Do we know how many tons exist under the ground? That's really where this conversation will make an impact. And like Dr. Abati said, that's where we'll be able to move from this continuous cycle of wanting to use gold or wanting to use mining as a bedrock of the economy. And that's where we'll actually be able to kickstart, to start seeing mining activities being a major contributor to the economy. So let's scale it, let's explore, let's know how many billions of dollars worth of gold and how many tons of gold exist under Nigeria's soil, and let's not appear to be promoting artisanal mining, because again, it's also not even good for the environment.